Good morning, student. Uh, this paper, that is the paper 2, ecology and the animal behavior, will be shared by me and Philomena. Okay, so this is my first lecture for you, and in today's lecture we will study about the hydrosphere, that is about the water. Okay, the hydrosphere consists of or forms by the oceans, river, streams, lakes, ponds, pools, then polar ice caps and water vapor, etc. This all forms the hydrosphere. Okay? And it is the 3/4 part of the earth's surface, that is the 75% is covered with the hydrosphere, and the main component of which is the water. Okay? Water is one of the natural compound found on the earth, and it is one of the most important for the survival or sustainable survival of the organism, okay, or living forms. Water is then water remains in three forms, that is a solid, for example solid include the snow, then the liquid, that is water, and the gaseous, that is in water vapor form. Okay? And life on earth begins in the sea, and water is some form or the other is essential for the maintenance of life. It also plays an important role in the pedogenesis, that is the formation of the soil. Okay, and this leads to the medium for the formation of the different ecosystem. Uh, so water is unevenly distributed on the earth, and thus it leads to the formation of different ecosystem. Okay? And the most important characteristic or the that differs leads to the aquatic environment is the marine environment and the freshwater environment. It depends on the salt water content. Okay, salt contained in the water. So this water is further leads to the two main environment based on the salt content, that is marine environment and the freshwater environment. Thus the different organism in these two environment will be having a different adaptations, including the plants and animals. Okay, and here it also the other factors, for example the physical properties of the water and the chemical properties of water, also leads to the differentiation or the different adaptations in the organism. Okay? So in detail we will study, that is the first we will study the physical properties of water, that is a water uh, is exist in a three forms, that is a solid, liquid and gaseous form. Okay? And it covers the 75% of the earth surface okay, and in atmosphere also it is present in the form of aqueous vapors. Okay, and in the polar region it is form of solid, that is an ice cover. Okay, so uh, thus water is an extremely innate body in relation to other chemical substances. Okay? And it has also unique thermal properties such as the heat capacity, latent heat and the higher freezing point. So first we will see the high water has a high heat capacity, that is it can withhold large amount of heat, and because of this property of holding the high heat capacity, the ocean and the lakes tend to maintain relatively constant temperature. And this temperature, like this property, is very important to animals' life. Okay, and this leads to the this formation of rains. Okay, the next one is the latent heat of melting and evaporation. Okay, so what is latent heat? Latent heat of melting means the number of calories that is required to convert 1 gram of solid at a freezing point into 1 gram of liquid, okay, at the same temperature. So here the what happen in a latent heat melting, is the energy or the calories which is required to convert 1 gram of a solid into freezing point, 1 gram of solid into melting, okay, to melt 1 gram of solid at the same temperature is the same, okay, and this heat is necessary to melt ice in the same as that required to raise the temperature, okay, so this remains the same. Then the latent heat of evaporation is same, that is the number of calories required to change 1 gram of liquid into vapor, okay, and this temperature or this property of the water is very important, not only in because it moderates the temperature of the biosphere, but also because it plays a basic role in evaporation of water and the precipitation of rain, okay. So thus it helps in a hydrological cycle or the water cycle. Then next one is the thermal conductivity, okay. Thermal conductivity, that is water act as a poor thermal conductor as compared to the metals, okay, and among all liquid it act as an excellent thermal conductivity, okay. Then the expansion of before freezing. So the relation between the temperature and the density or the mass per unit volume is very unusual. So water is cooled from a room temperature, it get contract and become denser, okay. So if it cooled further, then it expand again. So this expansion of water by freezing uh, helps allows it to float on the top of the lake or the stream, and it is very unusual for an aquatic ecosystem ever to freeze, okay. So this prevents the freezing of the water bodies. So because of this expansion during the freezing of water leads to the water bodies to cover top layer only. So beneath the bottom layer or bottom water is remain in liquid form, okay, and this helps in a survival of the organism which are found in that particular ecosystem or the particular pond body or water body, okay. Then second one, it act as a universal solvent, okay, as compared to the other compounds or other substances. Water act as a very good solvent, okay. So many different substances can be dissolved in it, and it is thus known as a universal solvent, okay. And water is the main medium by which chemical constituents are transported from one part to the another, okay, one part of to the another of the organism, plus also in an ecosystem, okay, from nutrients from one place to another is passed through or transported through the water only. So this so it acts as a very good medium by which this material, for example a biotic portion of the ecosystem into the living portion is transferred, okay. Even in the dry or the terrestrial environment, nutrient material is passed into the root of the plants in an aqueous solution. So for the absorption of the nutrient also, roots require that nutrient should be dissolved in a water, then only root can absorb it, okay. So even in the air also requires, for the breathing of animals, it also requires water, that is oxygen is dissolved in the water at the surface of the lungs before it can cross the mucous membrane and absorbed into the blood. Okay, so water acts as a universal solvent. The next point is water has a great surface tension, that is uh, among all common liquids it has a high surface tension except mercury. Okay, so this role of surface tension is most obvious in the way to allow certain things such as the pollen, dust and water to remain surface of the water body. um, and though they are denser than the water, they float. Okay, and other important function that of high surface tension of water allows soil to contain a significant amount of water through a capillary attraction and to make it available for the terrestrial plants. Okay, then next point is the buoyancy. Buoyancy, water is a buoyant medium and the organism that exist in it without a specialized supportive structures and all, that organism inhabit in a terrestrial environment. Okay, and they needed by the organism. Okay, then the viscosity, they have a water has a high viscosity, that is animals that live or move in a water needs to will be having a streamlined body. Okay, thus to move freely or through the air, because this provide resistance to motion in a viscous medium. As it is a high viscous, so it is free moving of the free animals can move freely, but at the same time what happens, the viscosity of the water allows the organism uh, to carry out a simple movements, and it also protects the aquatic animals and plants from the mechanical disturbance. Okay, then next point is the transparency, that is a water is a transparent medium. So what happens, there is a penetration of the light takes place at a depth. Okay, and so that it ultimately the light is absorbed. Okay, so due to this transparency, different wavelengths are absorbed at a different level, different depths of the water body. Okay, so this leads to the two zones. One is the photic zone, which where the light is penetrated, and that zone is called as a photic. And below this zone, below photic zone, there is a complete darkness, and the organism that does not require light can be survive. Okay, or they live there. Okay, and this transparency of the water is greatly affected by the presence of suspended particles, for example the phytoplanktons and all. Okay, and phytoplanktons require light for the photosynthesis. Okay, so thus the light and this led to the penetration of a light in a turbid water is less. Okay, so where the most suspended particles and the phytoplanktons are there, so there is the light penetration is less. Okay, the next one is the pressure. So in organisms living at a sea level experience a pressure, uh, and this pressure is very high, that is can be defined as a 1 atomic. Okay, and pressure increases with the increase in the depth. So that's why the organisms which are bottom dwelling are found in a depth of the sea bodies. Okay, or water bodies are flat because they are existing by that much of pressure, the water. So organism inhabiting the floor of the deep sea areas is exposed to the hydrostatic pressure that can be about 1 ton per square centimeter, sorry. So the pressure is so much, that is about 1 ton per square centimeter, and this pressure is influences solubility, ionic dissociation and surface tension, and it slightly compressible with increase in pressure. Okay, so water is slightly compressed with increase in pressure. The next important point is or characteristic feature, physical property of the water is the salinity. Salinity is the one of the major or the important uh, property that leads to the formation of two environment, that is a marine and the freshwater. Okay, so marine will be obviously contain the salt content will be high. Okay, and in freshwater the salt content is very low. Okay, so this salinity, salinity is first of all defined as the total amount of solid material in grams contained in 1 kilogram of the water when all the carbonate has been converted into oxide, bromine and iodine, replaced by the chlorine and all organic matter completely oxidized. So this natural water will contain various amount of different salts or ions such as sodium, potassium, magnesium, calcium, then phosphorus, carbonates, etc. Okay, and all these salts is responsible for the saltiness, salinity, and the salt content of the water. Okay, and in the marine water it is rather constant. The salinity of the marine water remains constant, whereas the salinity of the fresh water is greatly varies. Okay, because the mixing of fresh water take place, for example at the estuarine where the fresh water and the sea water mixes or come in contact will be having a relatively low salinity as compared in a mid ocean. Okay, so in a marine water what happens, there will be salinity will be constant, whereas in the fresh water it get fluctuated, and this led to the great diversified distribution of the um, species or the organism. And salinity also act as an important limiting factor for distribution of the number of species of plants and animals. Okay, for example spider crabs will be found or can tolerate very low fluctuation in salinity. Okay, and this type of organism is called as stenohaline animals. Okay, the organism which can tolerate very only narrow fluctuation of salinity in water is called as the stenohaline animals, while some animals such as Mytilus, Aplysia, both belongs to the phylum Mollusca. Okay, can withstand wider range of salinity, and this type of organism is called as a euryhaline animals. Okay, while in some there are also some species or organism which can uh, which that which are called will be performing both, that they can be survive in a narrow fluctuation plus at a high fluctuation also, like stenohaline and urohaline, for example salmon. Okay, the next one is the chemical property of water. Chemical property of water basically consists of this water basically consists of single compound, that is H2O. Okay, and it is the universal solvent, and most chemical compound is ionized radially in water, and this provide many radicals in the water. Okay, and this makes it versatile, and thus there are different because of this the solubility of the gases in water get is high, that is it get radially dissolved in water. Gases get radially dissolved in water, and most notable these are very essential for the life. Okay, the concentration of gas in a water is generally varies between the 0 to like saturation point. Okay, so the amount of gases that can be dissolved in the water when the atmosphere and the water are in equilibrium with one another. For example, for example, the saturation level of any gas in the water depends on the several variables. For example, temperature, salinity, okay, and thus the concentration of a gas in the atmosphere and its relative solubility in the water differs. Okay, and the greater concentration of the gas is in the atmosphere, and the greater concentration of its in the water will tend to be depend on other factors like salinity, temperature, and all. Okay, so based on it, the first one comes the most important gases which we require, all living organisms require, is the oxygen. Okay, so oxygen is like critical factor uh, in an aquatic environment, because the amount of oxygen in a water uh, leads to the living organism uh, means the dissolved oxygen in a water body leads to the survival of living organism except anaerobic forms. Okay, so they all will depend on the aquatic organism will all depend on the dissolved oxygen only for respiration. So in contrast to atmosphere, the oxygen becomes limiting factor in the water aquatic medium. Okay, so the saturation concentration of the oxygen in water is governed by the temperature and the salinity. The lower the temperature, the greater the oxygen retaining capacity of water, and whether it is in fresh water or sea water, it remains the same. That is, the lower the temperature, the greater the oxygen retaining capacity of water, both in fresh water plus sea water. The next important another gas is the nitrogen. Being nitrogen is one of the high maximum amount of nitrogen is present in the atmosphere. It also requires in aquatic medium too. Okay, after oxygen, nitrogen is significantly less soluble than oxygen, but the concentration of its in the environment is 78%. Okay, but in water it is 65% dissolved gases. Okay, and this nitrogen is very important because the aquatic bacteria or fungi, blue green algae will be depend on a nitrogen for their other metabolic processes, and this leads to the absorption of this nitrogen from the dissolved water. Okay, and even there are other bacteria that can be produced their reduction of nitrates under condition of very low oxygen. Okay, so at a low oxygen concentration, the bacteria produces nitrates. Okay. Then another one is the carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is one of the important raw material of photosynthesis. So the decomposition of the organic matter and the respiratory activity of the aquatic plants and animals produces carbon dioxide, and this gas is one of the essential raw material necessary for photosynthesis of green plant, that is a phytoplanktons in the water bodies. Okay, and what happens, this carbon dioxide combines with water to produce carbonic acid, which is influences the hydrogen ion concentration of the water, and this carbonic acid dissociate to produce hydrogen and bicarbonate. The bicarbonate is radially dissociate, forming more hydrogen and carbonate, and thus the amount of free or the uncombined carbon dioxide in water is of ecological importance. That is uh, the calcium precipitates take place when the temperature and the salinity is high and the amount of carbon dioxide is low. Okay, so this is the importance how the carbon dioxide also plays important role in maintaining the aquatic uh, ecosystem. Okay, and thus the dissolved carbon dioxide or the is very important in maintaining the life forms of the aquatic medium. Okay. Then another one is the hydrogen sulfide. Hydrogen sulfide is a toxic gas, and what happens, the deeper layers of many bodies of water, for example in ponds, lakes and some estuaries, this play an important role because this is released by the decaying organic matter, and if the concentration of the gas builds up, all the life but the anaerobic bacteria excluded from the area. For example, for example of this is deeper strata of the Black Sea. So deeper strata of the Black Sea is having the high concentration of hydrogen sulfide. So there is a very rare life form is observed. Okay. So how this all these properties will affect the formation of aquatic environment and its organism. Okay, like so all these factors will influence or properties of water will leads to the formation of different environment or ecosystem. Okay, ecosystem plus it also affect other adaptations or lead to the formation of adaptations in the organism. Okay, so now we will see what are the water and the ecological adaptations. Okay, so water forms an important physiological factor for everything like water makes up large portion of the bodies portion of the bodies of plants and animals, whether they live on land or in an aquatic form. Okay, uh, for example in a active cytoplasm holds 70 to 90% of the water, and it thus leads to the or act as an important physiological properties. Okay, so based on this this strong relationship between the uh, status with the soil or plants and the atmosphere leads to the different ecosystem. Okay, different type of adaptations. Okay, so it also helps in a soil plant atmosphere continuum, that is SPAC, that is soil plant atmosphere continuum. Okay, and this relation to water transfer uh, like the plant body and the lower layer of the atmosphere will be forms the zones. Okay, for water absorbing, and solar radiation is the primary energy source for water transport process in a spec, that is the spec means soil plant atmosphere continuum. And on the other hand, animals obtain water by drinking, absorbing it through their skin from contact with some damp ground, or directly from their food, or from the metabolic waste what they produces. From there they will directly absorb. But what happens in a plant, they will be having a soil plant water continuum. They will be gain the water from its atmosphere. Okay, whereas in animals what happen, they directly drink it or absorb it through the skin, or directly absorb from the food or from the its metabolic waste only. Okay, so like and this there are different forms or the habitats. Um, for example, plants which grows, mesophytes means the plants which grows in the areas where the water is available in plenty are called as a mesophyte. Similarly, the terrestrial animals which live in an area where the water is plenty is called as mesocoils. Okay, and plants grow in a water. The plants grow in a water aquatic medium is called as a hydrophytes, and while the animal which lives in an aquatic medium is called as a aquatic animal or the hydrocoils. Okay. Similarly, the opposite form of this mesophytes and the mesocoils, hydrophytes and hydrocoils, is the xerophytes and the xerocoils, that is the desert animals and the desert plants. That is the xerophytes are the animals which plants which are found in a dry area, okay, on the land dry, like in desert plants, for example cactus and all, whereas the animal living in a xeric condition, that is a dry condition, is called as a desert animal or xerocoils. So students, you need to remember this six terminology, that is mesophyte and mesocoils, hydrophytes and hydrocoils, xerophytes and xerocoils. Okay. Mesophytes is the plant which grows in an area where the water is plenty, whereas the mesocoils are the animals which are found or live in the area where the water is plenty. The next one is the hydrophyte. Hydrophyte is the animal which lives in a aquatic medium. Okay, for example, pond, stream, lakes, and all. Okay, whereas the hydrocoils are the animals which lives in a aquatic medium or marine aquatic medium, that might be marine or fresh water. Whereas opposite of this is the xerophytes and xerocoils. Xero means or xeric condition means dry condition where the water scarcity is lot of water scarcity is there. Okay, so xerophytes are plants which live in a dry condition at a high temperature and all, whereas the xerocoils or the desert animals are the animals living in a dry condition. Okay, and there also xerophytes will live in a physiological dry soil. So the saline soil is with the high concentration. Okay, and halophytes can be further classified into lithophilous, then pessimophilous. There are lots of, don't worry, don't need to remember that, we just need to remember this six terminology: mesophytes and mesocoils, hydrophytes and hydrocoils, and xerophytes and xerocoils. So in detail we will see the adaptation in the mesophytes. The mesophytes are the plants which lives in a plenty of water. Okay, so what will be the adaptation? Their roots are very fibrous and adventitious, and stem is weak, with the slender and spongy, and it will be covered with the mucilage. Okay, this mucilage, and it may be hard like. Okay, and the leaves of this mesophytes will be broad and submerged in a water. Okay, and these leaves are very thin, long, and ribbon like without stomata. So stomata will be not there. Water, there is lots of water, so no need to exchange of this. What happens here? The leaves which are submerged, or in the leaves which are in contact with water surface or in water, there will be no stomata. Okay. Then what is the adaptation of the hydrocoils? Hydrocoils are the organism that lives in a aquatic medium. So what are the examples of aquatic medium? Fishes, then crocodile, reptiles, snakes, and all. Okay, water snakes. So adaptation of hydrocoels, the organism living in the aquatic medium will be having a elongated streamlined body with a compressed head, tail, and the body will be compressed full. Okay, and this includes, for example, fishes, sea turtles, mammals such as whales. Okay, and some amphibians also, that is a frog, toads. Okay, so in this slide we can see the different free floating hydrophytes. Okay, in a at left hand side, whereas at the right hand side there is the hydrocoels coils. Okay, that is the organism or animals that are found in a water bodies. Okay, so like even in this hydrocoels there will be like birds which visit the water bodies for the reproduction and for collection of food, for example duck, okay, egrets and all. So this will be also showing some adaptations related to that hydrosphere or the water or aquatic medium. The next point is next one is the xerophyte adaptation and the xerocoels adaptation. Xerophytes or xerocoels, xero or xeric is the dry condition. Okay, so xerophyte are the plants which are found in a dry condition. So what happens? There is a scarcity of water. So in the need or search of water, and at a high temperature, high strong wind, high transpiration rate and evaporation rate is very high, precipitation is low. So what happens? In order to survive, this xerophyte, it will be having a roots which are deep with the extensive hair. Okay, that will run very deep in the soil, like and sometimes it reaches to the water table, and in order to search of water. Okay, then there will be modification of leaf, that is the leaf will be thick, leathery with the cuticle and wax coating. Then the sunken stomata to avoid the exchange of water, okay, from the body. Okay, then the stems of cactus, one is the important, like like most known example of xerophytes is the cactus. So what happened, the cactus will be like uh, uh, sorry, the stem of this xerophytes will be modified in such a way that it will be having a thick fleshy water storage organs. Okay, that is this and even the leaf will contain a turgescent parenchymatous cells which avoid the which helps in which helps in water storage. Okay, then next one is in this the water is also stored in xerophyte, the water is also stored in roots, leaves and the stem. Okay, and thus it is called as a succulent because they possess thick fleshy water storage organs. And non-succulent xerophytes are also there. They will be having an extensive root system, high osmotic pressure and other modification in the leaves. Okay, that prevents the loss of water. Okay, then the body or the plant will be the spines and barbs like bristles. Okay, to avoid the loss of water also from the predators. The next one is the xerocoels adaptation. Another is xerocoels adaptation or the desert adaptation in the desert animals. Okay, so they have evolved a different type of adaptive features in order to survive in an arid environment. First one, it is nocturnal. They will be showing nocturnal life. That is, some desert animals are nocturnal, and it will be having a shade of brown or deep in the soil. Okay, so in the daytime what happens, they remains in burrows, whereas due to excessive heat and the dryness, and in a like in order to also provide the loss of heat or the conducting the like loss of water, they remains burrow in a during daytimes. Okay, and they are more active in a night time, so they show a nocturnal life cycle. Then they will be having a deceptive coloration, that is the desert animals are usually gray, brown or red, that matches the color to their surrounding, in order surroundings like sand and rock. Okay, in order to avoid the predators. Okay, then next is the suspended animations, that is in certain animals what happen, there will be simpler organization, such as in rotifers, nematodes, desert snails, and what happens, they will be having a long dry environment now, so they will show a estivation. Okay, estivation during drought or the drought time, and they will be active during the moist season. Okay, that is suspended animation or the estivation. Okay, then they will be showing a fast movement. They will be faster than other land animals, since they have to travel in a like long distance in a search of food and water in a dry and with the high, in the presence of high temperature and all, they will be more fast. Okay, then they will also show the migration. For example, in some birds and mammals what happens, they will during summer season, or when there is very high temperature is there, that time they will move from one place to another in search of food or for breeding, in order to overcome the drought season. Okay, as there is a very less food supply. Then next is the next is the heat loss by radiation. They will be like animals such as the jackrabbit, fox will have a large ear that reduce the need of water evaporation. Okay, and this regulates the body temperature also. Okay, and their ears are function as a uh, very efficiently in radiating as compared to cooler desert sky. And the radiation temperature is below the animal body temperature, so most of the heat loss of radiation by radiation, they will be this all modification, that is the large ears and all, will be in order to help to or prevent the water evaporation. Okay, then the impermissive was skin, that is in a drier habitat what happens, they contain a thick impermeable body covering. Okay, or integument that covers the insect or birds or animals, and in order to loss of water. Okay, thus in also to avoid the loss of salt through the sweat glands, this impermissive skin will be helps in heat regulation. Okay, then uh, another example is they will be having a upturned nostrils, that is the nostril is directed upward, and they will be provide a protection from the clogging by the wind and wind blow, because there are sands and also fast winds are blowing, so in order to avoid the clogging of their nostril by the wind blow, the desert animal will be having a upturned nostrils. Okay, then the water, they will be absorb water from their food and its own nitrogenous waste or the metabolic waste. Okay, for example a kangaroo rat and all, which feeds on which drink or absorb water from its excreta only. Okay, then next one is they will be having an internal lungs or the tracheal system, that is a mode of respiration that is in order to correlate with the water. Okay, in the crustacean what happens, there are gills which are covered by the water retaining carapace. Okay, and this carry with them a liquid environment for their gills continuously. In a steady body, what happens? For example, in fish, they are practically impermeable to water, and the exchange of gases is carried out by the gills and the guts. But in internal lungs, what happens? That is the pulmonate, uh, like for internal lungs are present in snails, spiders, and all, like some higher vertebrates also, where internal tracheas are present, which avoid the loss of water through breathing, okay, or respiration. Okay, then there will be excreta will be in the dry, so excretion, the nitrogenous waste uh, or the metabolic waste will be in the form of dry, and the nitrogenous waste is the solid uric acid, thus it is does not require more water. Okay, that's why the nitrogenous waste is solid uric acid. For the and this help in save conserve the water. Okay, uh, then these are few examples of xerophytes and xerocalls. Then next habitat is the adaptation at a cold environment. At a cold environment, what happens? The organism, in order to deal the extreme cold, the organism have developed a fat deposition. The layer there will be the thick layer of the fat, in order to protect the heat or loss of heat. In cold, what happen? There is no need to consume water, but there is need to consume their heat. They need to maintain the body temperature in order to overcome that extreme cold. Okay, so there will be the thick layer of the fat, which prevent or provide insulation. Then the body is covered with the thick fur and the feather, and in few birds, what happen? There is the two layers of feathers. Okay, then they also show the hibernation and burrows. Okay, during extreme cold the season, what happen? The animals will hibernate, in which the all its metabolic processes is slowed down. Okay, in order to consume their energy to provide heat or conserve heat. Okay, or sometimes they also lives in burrows. Okay, then they will be having a large body and the short arms with the legs, short legs and tails. Okay, with this we have done the this hydrosphere or the water. Okay, thank you. If any question is there or any query, then please let me know.